17th century was a golden age for the Dutch Republic, a time when it became one of the wealthiest and most powerful states in Europe. This small, decentralized federation of provinces defied monarchical traditions and created a unique system of governance dominated by a merchant oligarchy. The period saw the Netherlands emerge as a global trading powerhouse, a center of artistic and scientific innovation, and a key player in European geopolitics. This essay explores the Dutch Republic's political system, economic foundations, colonial ventures, cultural achievements, and ultimate decline. Political structure: a merchant oligarchy. Unlike the centralized monarchies of France, Spain, and England, the Dutch Republic operated under a decentralized political system. The Union of Utrecht, 1579, laid the groundwork for the Republic's structure, granting significant autonomy to the 7 constituent provinces: Holland, Zeeland, Utrecht, Gelderland, Overijssel, Friesland, and Groningen. Each province had its own government and was ruled by local regents, wealthy merchant families who controlled politics and trade. At the national level, the States General in The Hague represented the provinces, but its authority was limited. The real power rested with the provincial estates, particularly the States of Holland, the most prosperous and influential province. While there was a nominal head of state, the stadtholder, this position, often held by a member of the House of Orange, had fluctuating authority. During much of the 17th century, power rested firmly in the hands of merchant elites who prioritized economic interests over hereditary rule. This oligarchic system enabled stability and economic prosperity, as policies were crafted to serve trade and commerce. However, it also created internal divisions, particularly between the Republican faction, led by the Regents, and the Orangists, who supported a stronger role for the stadtholder. These tensions occasionally resulted in political crises, but they did not significantly disrupt the Republic's economic success until the later part of the century. Economic foundations: trade and finance. The Dutch Republic's wealth was built on commerce, banking, and maritime trade. By the early 1600s, Amsterdam had become the financial capital of Europe. The establishment of the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, 1602, and the Bank of Amsterdam, 1609, revolutionized global finance, creating a system of credit and investment that fueled the Republic's expansion. The Dutch East India Company, VOC, founded in 1602, played a pivotal role in the Republic's economic dominance. It was the world's first multinational corporation and operated with immense power, controlling trade routes, establishing colonies, and even waging wars. The VOC's success in Asia, particularly in the spice trade, generated enormous wealth. Similarly, the Dutch West India Company, WSC, established in 1621, focused on trade and colonization in the Americas and West Africa. In addition to overseas trade, the Republic dominated European shipping. Dutch merchants acted as intermediaries, transporting goods between the Baltic, the Mediterranean, and the Americas. The development of an efficient shipbuilding industry, particularly the Flight, a cargo ship optimized for bulk trade, reduced costs and gave the Dutch a competitive edge. The fisheries, textile production, and refining industries further contributed to economic prosperity. Colonial ventures and global influence. The Dutch Republic established an extensive colonial empire, driven by trade interests rather than territorial conquest. The VOC controlled significant portions of the East Indies, modern-day Indonesia, establishing Batavia, Jakarta, as a central hub. Dutch merchants dominated trade in spices, textiles, and porcelain, creating a commercial empire that rivaled European powers such as Portugal and Spain. In the Americas, the Dutch founded New Amsterdam, later New York, in 1625, and established colonies in the Caribbean and South America, including Suriname and the Dutch Antilles. The WSC also played a key role in the transatlantic slave trade, transporting enslaved Africans to plantations in the New World. The Republic's presence in Africa, particularly at Elmina in present-day Ghana, allowed it to control key points of the Atlantic trade. Despite Dutch global influence, their colonial ventures faced challenges. The Anglo-Dutch Wars, 1652 to 1674, led to the loss of New Amsterdam to the English, and competition with other European powers eroded Dutch dominance in global trade over time. Cultural achievements. The Dutch Golden Age. The prosperity of the 17th century fostered a remarkable period of cultural and intellectual achievement. Dutch painters such as Rembrandt, Vermeer, Frans Hals, and Jan Steen produced masterpieces that reflected the wealth and diversity of Dutch society. The era's artistic focus on realism, light, and everyday life set it apart from the religious and royal themes dominant in other European nations. Science and intellectual life also flourished. Figures such as Christian Huygens made advances in astronomy and physics, while Antony van Leeuwenhoek pioneered microbiology through his use of microscopes. The Dutch printing industry thrived, and Amsterdam became a center of free thought, attracting intellectuals from across Europe, including René Descartes and Baruch Spinoza. Religious tolerance was another defining feature of the Dutch Republic. While Calvinism was the dominant faith, Catholics, Jews, and other Protestant groups found refuge in the Netherlands. The Jewish community, particularly in Amsterdam, contributed significantly to trade and intellectual life. This openness to diverse cultures and ideas was instrumental in the Republic's economic and cultural success. Geopolitical challenges and decline. Despite its impressive achievements, the Dutch Republic faced significant challenges by the late 17th century. The Republic was involved in a series of conflicts, particularly against England and France, which strained its resources. The Anglo-Dutch Wars weakened Dutch naval power, and the Franco-Dutch War 1672–1678 nearly led to the Republic's collapse. In 1672, known as the Disaster Year, Ramjar, the Dutch Republic was simultaneously attacked by France, England, and German states. The country managed to survive, thanks in part to its water-based defenses and the leadership of William III of Orange, but its dominance was irreversibly damaged. By the early 18th century, the Dutch economy faced increasing competition from England, which had adopted many of the financial and trade innovations pioneered by the Netherlands. Another factor in the Republic's decline was the rigid control of the merchant oligarchy. While their governance had ensured stability in the 17th century, it later stifled economic and political reform. The Dutch trading companies, once the engines of wealth, became inefficient and struggled to compete with emerging British and French enterprises. By the 18th century, the Dutch Republic had become a secondary power in Europe, overshadowed by Britain and France. The once mighty VOC fell into decline, and the Republic's decentralized governance proved ineffective in responding to new economic and military challenges. In 1795, the Republic was overthrown by French revolutionary forces, leading to the establishment of the Batavian Republic and the eventual absorption into the Napoleonic Empire. The 17th century was an extraordinary period for the Dutch Republic, marked by unparalleled economic success, cultural flourishing, and global influence. Its unique system of merchant oligarchy allowed for stability and prosperity, making it a model of early modern capitalism. However, internal political tensions, external military pressures, and economic shifts ultimately led to its decline. Despite this, the legacy of the Dutch Golden Age endures in art, finance, and global trade, showcasing the lasting impact of this remarkable chapter in world history.